Biden seems to be incredibly hawkish towards China. NATO in general seems to be really. It seems are they really thinking about trying to prepare for a war with China? Because that's the way they're talking.
Yeah,
and it's just like we can't. We're getting our asses handed to us in Ukraine, and we want to start something with China.
Right, and we're on the verge of a much larger war in the Middle East. Yeah, no, it just seems beyond insane. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say, but but clearly, I think there are some very powerful factions within the defense establishment in the U.S. that are really focused on Asia and China and see China as the main rival. And what's happened, though, is that, we have other people that are obsessed with Russia, and then we have people that are obsessed with Iran, right? And they're all there, right? And instead of just saying, okay, well, we obviously can't do all three, they all seem to end up having a voice. Maybe this is a result, again, of not having a competent leader, somebody at the top. So instead, you just get all these factions get to push their policies, simultaneously. I guess you would say that of the three, it's like clearly like Iran has been put to the back of the line. I think I think there is an intention, or certainly there's a desire on the part of a lot of people in the U.S. defense establishment to have a war with Iran. But there's also the sense that we just can't deal with that now. So there's clearly an effort to avoid war with Iran, but we don't see the same kind of effort in China, and which it's hard to understand. I mean, because that would just be that could be such a disaster for the U.S. Navy.
Yeah, I mean, it's so out there that I can't wrap my head around like they're actually being serious about this, because if it did happen, it would be over so quickly. We just don't have the capacity to wage a war against China. Yeah. I mean, China makes everything here for us too.
Right. If it's a long term,
they could crank the dollar. They could crash the dollar overnight if they wanted to as well.
Yeah. Well, they had also recently it came out that what is it, like 40% of weapon systems in the used by the U.S. military are dependent on components from China. So again, in any sort of long-term war, clearly, we're going to crash.
Right.
We deplete our stockpiles, and that's it.
The irony is this is why we're sanctioning Chinese banks and stuff, and wanting to introduce further sanctions. And this is what Biden was saying in this press conference, is that that China is boosting up Russia by giving them dual use goods and could be.
In other words, just trading with them.
Right. Steel, chips, whatever.
Machine
which,
tools,
like you said, which is like said, 40% of our own stuff, military stuff, is coming from China. And also, you failed to mention that the majority of drones that are being used, that the Ukrainians use, are coming from China. So China just sells stuff.
I think
people use their stuff for different things.
Right.
And so you can make the argument that China, actually, I think this is not even an argument. I think this is actually could even be a statement of fact that China is providing more military support to Ukraine than it is to Russia. Would you say that's accurate?
Well, it's a little bit hard to say. I mean, you could say that. First of all, like probably the most effective weapons that the Ukrainians have, and the only reason that they're really still in the fight, is the drones. I think they end up. The drones are the reason that the Russians have to proceed cautiously. The drones are, they can still inflict a lot of damage. Whenever the Russians get out of their trenches and, cross the fields, they become open targets, easy targets for the drones.
Right.
And that's why the
Russians. Where do these drones come from?
Right. They're the Chinese are not selling military drones, from what I understand. They sell them. They're just commercial drones, but the Ukrainians adapt them for military use.
Dual use, just like we say, anything can potentially be dual use. So, that's exactly right. Like the FPV drones seem to be the most effective weapon that the Ukrainians have. They originally were getting weapons, drones from the United States, but apparently they were so expensive and so garbage that they've just started buying drones directly from China and then, fitting them with these explosives to create these kamikaze drones. But they're all Chinese drones, or the vast majority of these drones are from China. So I don't think it's in a statement. China is doing more to support the Ukrainian military than the United States is supporting the Ukrainian military in terms of combat effectiveness. Well, let's say that.
You
heard it here first.
Okay. Well, that may be an exaggeration, but it's clear. Without the drones, I think they just wouldn't be in the fight.
Right. Exactly.
I think at this point, Russia would probably already be to the sniper. It's just the reason they have to go slowly. I mean, in the end, they're inflicting tremendous damage. They're just killing a lot of Ukrainian soldiers, but they have to. What's happened is they're forced to kill all these soldiers before they can proceed, because these soldiers can again inflict a lot of fatalities on the Russian forces.
Right.
If each time they move forward, each time they leave their trenches. I was reading some story. It was about. It was somewhere. I don't know where it was exactly on the lines, but it's there on the front lines. They said there was recently the Russians found it was it was a little drone operation center. It was like a cave in a grove of trees, and this down there in this cave was this older man. He was probably 50 years old, but he had been there for weeks, operating a fleet of drones, guiding them, and he had done a lot of damage, killed a lot of Russians. So this one guy, an older guy, could actually, be a real, real force, just pose a real danger to Russian forces. And eventually they found him, they took out that place, that threat was overcome. But it just gives you an idea of how potent, how effective these drones can be.
Right. I mean, when I look at, the Russian side, when they talk about the difficulties they have, it's the drones that they're afraid of more than anything, the infantrymen. You get out there in the open or even through the trees, these things come hunting you down. And so so what they're actually armed with, the anti-drone thing, they have a jamming thing to try to jam them. But the other thing is just this old 12-gauge shotgun, because it's like a bird. So it's coming at you. You got to shoot it, take it out. If you miss, you're in trouble because it's going to hit you. So it's kind of this old school weapon. They're using drones and then motorcycles.
Right.
So you can get away from them. And so that seems to be the most difficult thing for the Russians to counter. And they're actually having to go to more archaic technology like shotguns and drones, shotguns and motorcycles to combat drone warfare. But, all of this money that we sent to Ukraine, hundreds of billions of dollars worth of equipment, the HIMARS, the ATACMS, the Excalibur artillery shells, all of these things, these are not what the Russians are scared of. They're not worried.
They've neutralized them, each and every one of them.
They basically neutralized all of these super expensive, fancy ones, the Abrams tanks, whatever. The Russians
a single Excalibur artillery shell costs $100,000.
Right.
Yeah, and it's been neutralized.
Or you buy these drones for $500 from China. Right. That can do way more and are terrifying. So I would go back to my original statement. I think that the drones that China is supplying to Ukraine is providing more combat effectiveness to the Ukrainians than anything the Americans have given them. Because what tell me one thing that the Americans have given or NATO has given to Ukraine that is that is causing the Russians to shake in their boots, that is inflicting serious damage on the Russians. Is there anything?
I think you're right. I don't really think...
It's just the drones.
You look at the missiles, first of all, the missiles have been, largely neutralized by Russian electronic warfare. And the ones that get through rarely do considerable occasionally they do, like they hit an air base or something. But a lot of them will hit civilian targets. And then the tanks, you're always seeing us. It seems to me like the age of the tank is over. I might be wrong, but often these $10 million tanks can be destroyed by, like, again, $1,000 drone. You see that happen again and again.
Yeah. Hold on, let me get Henrik real quick.
Right.
Hey, stop, Henrik.
I was looking for you.
You're looking for me? Yeah, okay.
No.
Whoa.
Daddy, don't bubble me.
Don't bobble you?
Okay.
Okay, we'll bring...
Okay, we have a
my
special guest.
Special guest on the
I want to
podcast.
see Baba.
Baba's right there.
Okay.
I want to see him.
Hi, Henrik.
Okay, well, I think this might be a good place to
Yeah,
end
okay,
it.
we'll end it there.
Okay,
All right,
Henrik,
very good.
So
You want us? Can you say bye bye?
I want to hear Baba.
Okay, hold on. We'll let you hear.
Okay,
real
I'll
quick.
talk to him.
Hey, Baba.
Hi,
Henrik, can
hi,
you say,
Henrik.
Please like and subscribe.
Hey, Daddy.
Yeah. Can you say please like and subscribe?
Please like him and subscribe.
There, you
go.
heard it.
Okay,
You heard it from
thank you.
Henrik. Okay.
Okay. We'll end it here.
Okay, very
Okay.
good. We'll see you
All right,
later.
Bye bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye.